Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back once again with the EufyMake E1 UV printer, and I'm going to be showing you another one of the items that was sent to me with this printer. So we're going to be making UVDTF stickers. So for those of you who use these for your tumbler decals, for notebooks, for whatever hard surface you like to put UVDTF on, I'm going to show you how you can do this right from the comfort of your own home using the EufyMake E1 UV printer. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. All right, so we are diving right into this project. So I wanted to show you firstly how we're going to be able to print these. So EufyMake did send me their UVDTF film paper, and this is UVDTF A film paper, and then we'll talk about the B film as we kind of get into this tutorial. So the first we're going to do is we are going to lay this paper, which is what we're going to print on top of, in our bed, our standard bed of our EufyMake E1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the protective carrier sheet. Now, what I did notice when I began using this is there is a tendency with this carrier sheet to pull up sort of the stickiness or the adhesive that is part of the substrate so that you can print and make these stickers. So EufyMake is aware of this issue, and they are troubleshooting to come up with a film that you are able to remove that carrier sheet without having to struggle to get the adhesive to stay. So just keep that in mind, but you're going to carefully remove that carrier sheet just like you would sort of the top of your Cricut mat, so to speak, so that we can be able to print directly on this film paper. So now we're heading over to the EufyMake Studio, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the PNGs that we're going to use to create our stickers or our UVDTF, okay? So I've already uploaded a bunch already into my library here, but I'm going to go ahead and upload some additional ones that I'd like to see printed, okay? So what's great about this is we're using the standard bed and we're using the larger sized paper, and so we're able to really get quite a bit of decals on here. So I'm going to show you specifically on this canvas, I'm going to show you some, stickers like, tumbler, regular size tumbler decals, but also show you how you can fit your wraps and such on here too, in case you wanted to do those. And so it's really cool and really nice that you're able to get quite a few items on these larger sheets. They did also send me standard size UVDTF A film paper to use as well, and I have been using that as well for some of my smaller decals, things that I don't need to be too large, but I do love this ability to print on this larger sheet of paper, to be able to, print those tumbler wraps and things, because then I'm able to really get a lot of bang for my buck, so to speak, when it comes to fitting so many on here. So what I've done is I've uploaded a couple of PNGs that I just had on in my computer. We're going to go ahead and duplicate those by just right-clicking and duplicating and adding as many as I can fit across the screen, okay? We're also going to add a wrap here, which you can size. So the sizing is up in the top right-hand corner. I'm not sure if you saw that, but you can resize it, but it is in millimeters, so you do need to make sure that you know the measurements for the millimeter size, which would help you, of course, to know what size exactly you want or need your wraps to be. Now, of course, you don't need your wraps to be the entire width of this film paper, but if you wanted to, you certainly could print them at that size as well, and that would be great for like a 40-ounce tumbler. Since I'm going to be using a 24-ounce plump, I don't need my wrap to be as big, so I'm going to be able to fit a few sizes or a few duplicates of this wrap on this film paper. So here I am just adjusting the size, and I haven't measured it in millimeters, so I'm really just guessing here with what size I'm going to need these, but we're going to go ahead and just play around with this until it looks about to be the size that I need. I'm going to be cutting this apart anyway, so I'm not worried about the image being too small to be able to wrap around, because I'm not going to be using it as a wrap. I am going to be cutting those pieces and those cherries out to add to a tumbler. And so for me, what I always like to make sure that I do is I want to make sure that I'm filling up this entire sheet. I want to make sure that I'm using as much of that sheet as possible, but I am also keeping in mind that I don't put anything too close to the edge where some of that adhesive may have pulled up when I was removing the carrier sheet. So something that I didn't mention, but to get the standard bed to show up with the film paper as pictured, you're just going to click snapshot on the right hand side, and that again is going to take that picture of the bed of your EufyMake so that you can then lay everything out on the film paper, and so that you can make sure that everything is going to fit exactly how you want it to. So once we've gotten all of our decals and our wraps on here, we can go ahead and move on. We're going to go to the right hand side and click global ink on. We then are going to keep it on custom. I'm going to keep it as standard, but then scrolling down under global ink, we're going to change the ink settings to sticker. You want to make sure you change the ink setting to sticker. If you don't, what's going to happen is when you do go to print this, it is going to smudge that on top of that film paper. So definitely make sure that you press sticker so that it does the curing process a little bit more pointed, so that when that laser or when that UV light is dragging back and forth, it doesn't smudge your ink. Ask me how I know. I did this and forgot to click sticker, and so I had quite a hot mess for my first run of a full sheet of film paper with UVDTF. So we're going to go ahead and then press print. It's going to send this directly over to our EufyMake, and we're going to go ahead and get this printed. So I will tell you that this is a lengthy process, especially using the larger sheets and filling them completely up. This took, I want to say, I think it took about 30 minutes. I should have done a better job at paying attention to exactly how long the project told me when it was finished, but I want to say it took anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. And so as you'll notice, this is not the one that we created in the EufyMake Studio. I did print that one, but I've also been playing with this quite a bit. So I'm just showing you another one of the sheets that I've printed with some teacher decals, some dad UVDTFs, a couple of queen bees, just some things that I've been working on and wanting to play around with. So I went ahead and cut these out, or printed these out. So next we are going to, of course, laminate this. So in order to make this a UVDTF sticker, we need to have something, some kind of carrier sheet to be able to stick that ink to, so that the adhesive can be pulled off and then placed on a hard surface, okay? So as part of this, EufyMake sent me their laminator, and it's filled with the B film. So you need both the A and B film in order to make a complete sticker for the UVDTF. And so that is what this laminator is going to do. It's going to laminate the B film on top of the A film, which is going to make it possible for you, of course, to peel off that ink sticker and place it on that hard substrate. So we're going to go ahead and quickly unbox this. What's really cool is that it does come with instructions, and it's actually really easy to set up. I have to say that of all of the products that I've ever done collabs for brands with, EufyMake for sure has come with the best set of instructions for setup of any of the machines that I have used thus far. It's been really simple and easy to get things set up. I don't feel like I'm confused. I haven't stumbled over a step. Everything is very straightforward, which I absolutely love. Now, the B film is already installed in the laminator. The only thing we are going to have to do is sort of pull that forward so that it will catch under that lower roller and push through so that it will laminate on our A film. Some additional things that were in here that we are going to need is it does come with a paper cutter, which I thought was pretty cool. And it also comes with some clear film, some clear A film to use as opposed to the white backed paper in the standard size. So we're going to go ahead and again, pull that B film forward. And then we are going to flip the top of the lid up and then flip it down, which will kind of turn the item on after it's plugged in. And then you're going to press the heating element. Okay. So once you do that, it will light up green where it says heating. And then once it is green, you are good to start laminating your stickers. Okay. So we're just going to feed that through. It does all of the work for you, and you're just going to kind of catch it on the back end. So one thing you have to be mindful about is that this isn't going to stop on its own. You are going to have to make sure that you stop this once the entire sheet is through the laminator. So you're going to see me do that on the back side here. It's through all the way. We're going to go ahead and press stop. And then on the back side, which is cool, is instead of having to use scissors, it has this sort of push down cutter feature so that you can just push down that plastic tab, move that green knob to the edge, and that will completely cut away the laminated B film and A film together so that, of course, you can cut that as you will for the different size stickers that you've created. So we are going to just use the paper cutter that was sent. You can use scissors as well. I did find that I was using scissors just because it was easier for me to just use scissors since I wasn't doing like all of the same size decals. It just made a little bit more sense to just cut it with scissors, because the way that I was putting things on my A film, I really was making sure that things were quite close to use as much of that space on the A film as possible here. So just a quick showing of cutting things up, and then I'm going to cut the rest of those off camera, but show you all of those items. And then we're going to go ahead and get this applied to a tumbler here. So here's some of the decals that I've cut so far. I have cut so many more since this first run, but we're going to go ahead and use the cherries and the cherish the little things on this tumbler that I used a couple of weeks ago in another tutorial. So we already have this together. EufyMake also sends in that laminator, like a weeding tool and a squeegee, which is pretty cool too. So we are going to use those. So we're going to go ahead and put the cherry-ish, the little things decal on the front of this cup here. And then we're just going to add the cherries kind of throughout. So while we're doing that, I'm going to answer just some general questions that I have been seeing or I have been getting, just to sort of answer some of those things for you. So one of the questions has been, how is the ink life? So I've been using the EufyMake for quite a while now. Now I'm not printing necessarily every day, but I am printing a couple times a week. And what I have found is that I have yet to run out of ink. Now I'm not necessarily cutting full or printing full like canvases other than the one I did for the initial tutorial. But I am printing either stickers like we're seeing here, UVDTF. I have been printing on some coasters and things. Bookmarks has been a big thing for me as well. And I have yet to get the notification that I need to install the second set of ink that I was sent. So ink life has been really great thus far. And I haven't had to replace my ink as of yet. Some other questions that I've gotten is, can you use this to print on soft surfaces? So currently, no. With the ink that I currently have, no, you cannot use this to print on hard surfaces. However, EufyMake did just come out with a soft white UV ink, which will allow you to print on soft surfaces like fabrics, canvas bags, you know, those more malleable, bendable fabric pieces. So I feel like that is definitely going to be a game changer. So look how cute at this cherry tumbler. It came out so adorable, and I wanted to show you another tumbler that I'm adding one of the decals to. So this is a Summer Vibes decal, and then I'm going to talk about something that I had noticed in between these two tumblers. These were the first two ones that I had applied UVDTF on, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about what I did notice. So what I did notice, and it seemed to be a bit more apparent on this cup versus the cherry cup, ironically, is that the prints are a bit transparent, okay? So they're super vibrant on top of that white backing, but when you apply it to the tumbler, it is not as vibrant. So I wanted to figure out a way to sort of fix that and make sure that the prints were just as vibrant as they were on a white backing, so that when you're putting these on darker tumblers, that they still are just as bright as if you have a white base. So what I did know is that in order to get that super vibrant look is that I needed to print it twice. So that does mean, of course, I am using twice the amount of ink, of course. However, for what the purpose of what I utilize my UVDTF for, I feel like that's important. So what I did do is I went back and I printed the same Summer Vibes decal just on one of the standard film A's. We're going to go ahead and laminate it, but I did print it twice. And you print it twice just like you would using your Cricut. So you don't move the film paper off of the bed at all, and you just press print again, and it'll send that file back through, and it'll print directly over what you have on the standard, or what you have on your bed, okay? So it's not going to like misalign it. Like everything will still be lined up. You won't have an issue as long as you don't remove the film paper from the bed, okay? So leave it where it is, press print again after it's gone through. That way you can get sort of like double the ink on top of these. So we're going to apply this to the other side of that glass snow globe, and you can definitely see the difference in vibrancy. And so although I know it does use double the ink For my darker cups where this is going to be a necessity, I definitely will be double printing these. And I think for most of them, I might just double print them so that it isn't transparent. So we're going to go ahead and apply this on the other side here. But I wanted to make sure that, you know, if I'm going to be using these as stickers, you know, as UVDTF decals, that I am able to print this or put this on top of a dark surface without any issue. So I definitely think that the double printing is the way to go, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get this applied, and you'll also note that that cute top that goes with that summer vibe snow globe, I actually printed that using the EufyMake, printed right on top of that bamboo lid, and look how vibrant that came out. There was no base coating under that. That's right on top of the bamboo, so super vibrant. So it isn't thicker. I wouldn't say it's much thicker than the original print, slightly, but you really only can tell by the touch. But look how much more vibrant that is with the double printing versus the single printing. So that's a way, if you're looking to get your prints to be a little bit more vibrant, that is a way to make sure that they are really going to pop on some of those darker cups like black, you know, dark purple, things of that sort in nature. So I wanted to share with you all of the really cool decals that I was able to print. I know you guys have had so many different questions, and I hope that I can do another tutorial that just kind of gives you my thoughts on everything EufyMake E1 so far. But of course, if you have anything in the meantime you'd like to see me answer in a future video, leave those down in the comment section down below, and tell me what I should print next decal wise on my EufyMake E1 UV printer. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.